do this. Welcome to Reggie Sports Talk. I'm your host, RJ Kruger. On today's episode, my guest and I are going to talk about the upcoming NHL season. How will the new setups to the division affect the Blackhawks, who are the early favorites to win the Stanley Cup? Let's ask my guest. He goes to Illinois State. In high school at Oswego East, you could see him in the hallways from a mile away because no one else has hair like him. I give you the man, the myth, the legend. Welcome, AJ Praxemeyer, to the show.
How hey, everybody. Doing, it's nice to be here, RJ. It's really good to be here. I'm excited.
How you doing today, my guy?
I'm doing good. Just kind of hanging in there. Excited to talk about hockey. You know how I am. How I am with that. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm excited to talk about hockey. It's the first time we're talking about hockey on the Sports Talk.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
It's an exciting episode.
Oh, yeah. So, AJ, what do you think of the new division?
I'm actually a pretty big fan of it. I like that St. Louis isn't in our division. I like that breaks down that rivalry a little bit. Might give us a little bit better of a chance because, we have a tough time against them every year. I'm a little bit worried about Columbus because they're in our division and they're good this year. They're looking pretty good. But otherwise, I think they did a really well job balancing it. I'm a big fan of the Canadian division. I think it's fun putting all of the Canadian teams in the same division, just letting them go at it. Because there's some real talent up there, especially as of lately. They drafted Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, the Tkachuk brothers. Things are getting pretty good up there.
Yeah, I agree. I like the new divisions. One thing that's really weird and stinks for the Blackhawks is that they have the Stars and the Lightning in their division.
Yeah.
The Lightning won the Stanley Cup last year, and the Stars were who they played in the Stanley Cup. And when was the last time that happened where the two teams that play each other in the Stanley Cup will now be in the same division?
Yeah, it's crazy because, they intentionally designed these divisions to avoid things like that. And now with the rebuild, it's two of the most dominant teams within the same division, along with, Nashville, the Hawks, Columbus, all relatively dominant teams throughout the year, every year.
Yeah.
I think our division will be a lot of fun to watch, the division games.
Also, like you said, I like the Canadian teams being together. I don't know if that was something they did this year because of COVID and how Canada made the Blue Jays in baseball move to Buffalo this year because teams couldn't travel in and out of Canada. There's no NFL teams in Canada, so there wasn't anything there, but I'm pretty sure the Raptors had to move locations too, in the NBA. So I think that's pretty interesting. And when the Canadian teams will finally play everyone else, the NHL will probably bubble because we saw them successfully do that for the playoffs last year. So I think that'll be really good for them. And I like having the Blackhawks with the Red Wings again. Division rivals renewed, rivalry
so just
renewed.
A classic,
gotta love that.
Absolutely. I actually didn't even think about the Canadian aspect of the situation. I didn't really relate that to COVID, but I actually think that's a really good thought, especially because hockey is so much more dominantly Canadian than the typical sports, like football or basketball, even when they have the Raptors. Hockey just has so many of those. And I think that actually might be a really good point that they're trying to avoid exposure by putting all of the same teams in the same division for, Canada. It's a really good thought.
Because you look at their one empty spot, and that'll definitely be the Seattle Kraken when they're made this off season.
Yeah.
And hopefully by then the pandemic will be
too. Yeah, no, absolutely.
The West also looks super strong. The West Division, Anaheim, Arizona, Colorado, Kings, Minnesota, San Jose, St. Louis, and Vegas. That also looks like a really fun division to be able to watch.
That is fun. Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for Vegas and St. Louis. I think Vegas is going to be one of the Stanley Cup contenders this year. But we'll get into that in a little bit. They're going to be dangerous. Anaheim is always dangerous. That league sounds like it absolutely will be a lot of fun to watch, not only just that whole division play, but especially the division rivalry games are going to get, I think it's going to bring a little bit extra aggression into every game this season, seeing as it's a little bit shorter, a little bit different. I think everyone's just really going to show up to play. It's going to make it a really good season.
Yeah. So bouncing off of this season and looking further into next season and the upcoming seasons, do you think the NHL should keep the divisions like this and just add Seattle into that Canadian division? Or do you think when Seattle is made, they need to restructure stuff a little bit?
I think a lot of it's going to depend on their drafts, who they're going to take from what teams and what their team is going to look like. Because Vegas is a great example of a new team coming into the league and just being an absolute powerhouse because of the rules that they have in place. You know, they get to pick someone from each team, or however they may have switched it since Vegas came in. And I think that just gives them such an opportunity to become a dominant force in their division. So I think what's going to really depend on the divisions is how they play out their team. But I think throwing them into the Canadian division is a great idea. I think when they become a team, that'd probably be their best fit. You know, Seattle's real far north, at least in comparison to us, to Canada. Minnesota's right there, and I guess New York, but Seattle's it's just up there. It's closer to Canadian teams. I just think they'd be a good fit. Them, Ontario, Toronto, you know, Ottawa. They're all right there.
Yeah. I think the NHL should keep the divisions like this. I like the lineups. They look pretty even. Like you said, though, with how Seattle can draft, like we saw with the Golden Knights, like a big expansion can just all of a sudden Golden Knights were in the Stanley Cup Finals, and we thought we're going to win it for a while their first year.
Yep.
But as a Hawks fan, I'm happy that we don't have the Blues and the Avalanche in our division anymore.
Oh, absolutely. I would much rather Detroit. Still can't say I'm too excited about Nashville, you know. I never am, but they're a great team. They're fun to play against.
Yeah.
But St. Louis, I'm glad they're gone. I'm glad St. Louis is
gone. I think these new divisions are fun and will renew and make some great rivalries. I'm looking at the East, and you still have the Boston and New York rivalry. And you still got the Philadelphia and Pittsburgh rivalry. Battle of Pennsylvania there can still happen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, you absolutely. I think they did a really great job setting up the divisions this year. I think they kept a lot of the old rivalries intact. They did a great job placing everyone in terms of COVID. I think they did great. I think the NHL is doing a really good job trying to keep this under wraps, stay safe, and make it a successful season.
Yeah. So looking forward into the season, we're both Blackhawks fans, as you can tell by our wonderful Blackhawks gear that we're rocking in this video.
Oh, yeah.
How do you think the Blackhawks will do this year, and how will this division affect their success?
Well, going off last year, and it really hurts me to say this, we didn't perform how we should have. We didn't have the team built or working how they should. We got real lucky with that playoff run. We shouldn't have been there in the first place, but thanks to the rules, and we got a little bit of stretch going in. But this year, I'm thinking it's going to be very similar. Even with the short season, I think we're going to be looking a little rough. I think we have a lot of the key components we need to have a successful team. You know, obviously Kane, Taves, Keith, Seabrook are all core factors of the team, but now we've got DeBrincat and Doc and all these new young talents, Yoki Haru, and they're all coming in and making a name for themselves. So I think if they can learn to work with our vets, we could have a really successful year. But I'm starting to worry about some of the vets in terms of staying in Chicago or hockey, as a matter of that fact. So I guess, you know, only time will tell, but I'm at least hoping for a first round of the playoffs. That'd be awesome. But again, team's looking a little young this year, I think.
Yeah, I think this is a rebuild year. I'm not sold on the Blackhawks goalie this year. I think our defense is going to have to carry him, and lately our defense hasn't been able to carry themselves, let alone a goalie, so that will hurt.
That's been a long time problem, yeah. Well, and then Bowman, he just got that promotion, and I'm sorry to all you Stan Bowman fans out there. The guy and I don't get along, man. I think he makes some poorly thought out trades or decisions for the team. That's I don't want to say sacrificed our dynasty, but very, very close to it, I think. And like I said, I'm worried about Kane and Taves, especially Kane. I think that we're going to be looking to trade him.
Oh, you're still just upset that Bowman traded Panarin right as you bought a Panarin jersey.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm upset about that. Heck yeah, I'm upset about that. But man, I just don't understand how after what he's done the last 5 years, he's getting promotions. We made we won 3 cups in 5 years. And in the last 5 years, he's fired Joe Quenneville, traded Nicholas Charmelson, retired Corey Crawford from the team. Yeah, it's just, got Saad back for Panarin and traded our defenseman core, and it's just,
and then
I don't
traded Saad.
Yeah, exactly. His decision-making abilities are lacking. And I think that's a big part of why our team is in this rebuild phase, because I don't think previously that we would have needed it. But I think Doc and DeBrincat are going to be core pieces of this rebuild.
Yeah. One thing I do know for sure is that the Hawks will not finish in last because we have the Red Wings in our division.
Oh, yeah.
They think worse than we do.
Let's go. I was thinking the same thing when I was looking at it. Thank God, too, because it's tough. Although last year, I think they beat us a couple times last year. And
they might have.
That was brutal to watch. But it's always
last year feels like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. Yeah.
So you mentioned the Golden Knights earlier. Who are your favorites to win this Stanley Cup this year?
So I'm going to have to say that it's going to be Vegas and the Blues in the Cup. Or Vegas. Yeah, I'm going to have to say Vegas and the Jackets, I meant. The Blue Jackets. Okay. Columbus. I think that Tampa and the Blues are both in the running, and that the Dallas Stars might show up again, but I don't think they're going to make quite the performance they did last year. So I'm going to say Vegas Jackets in the Cup, and then I'm going to say that's tough. I'm going to say that the Blues and Tampa lose second round.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There are some really solid-looking teams this year. There were a lot of off-season moves that were pretty beneficial to some teams. Others, not so much.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you thinking?
I think the Lightning. Last year they won it, and it was a strange year, stop and start season, and they were able to compete.
Even without Stamkos, too.
Yeah. I think that they'll come back and could win back-to-back. Another team that I'm looking at is the Oilers. And I know the Hawks eliminated them early last year, but they had to stop and start. If McDavid and Draisaitl can play and not have to stop and they get hot, that's a team I do not want to play late in the playoffs.
No, absolutely not. No. My buddies are all on a hockey fantasy, and there's no doubt in anyone's mind that McDavid is going first overall. He is just such a talented, impressive young player, and he brings the team to a whole new dynamic. It's unreal to watch. He and the Oilers are definitely scary to watch, and Draisaitl really showed up last year. He really came out of nowhere. So I think that'll be a real good team to watch too.
And they just signed Cuckoo.
Right, yeah. That's not a bad call.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, AJ, thanks for joining the show.
I had a great time, RJ. Thanks for having me on, man.
We'll have to have you on again. I know you're coming on and talk about some wild card games. That'll be fun. We'll have to have you talk about some hockey again.
Absolutely, man.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you, AJ. If you like this video, please comment, subscribe, and share it. what do you think about this NHL season? What do you think of the divisions, and what do you think about the Blackhawks' chances this year? Who are your favorites to win the Stanley Cup this year? Let us know in the comments down below. Please share this video with your friends, like, and subscribe. For more sports talk, make sure you hit the notification button to know when we release more videos. Thanks for joining Reggie Sports Talk. I'm your host, RJ Kruger, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.